What's up, everybody? This is Information Man. I want to talk about something right now. Tulsa, Oklahoma. We all know about the Tulsa, Oklahoma 1921 massacre. They wiped out black people. You had racist individuals, Ku Klux Klan, just racist white folks in this place we call Tulsa, Oklahoma, who wiped out a complete, thriving black community that was doing well economically. They had their own shops, their own businesses, barbershop, their own restaurants, movie theaters. They were thriving, completely doing well. And in some cases, some people say they were doing better than even the white folks that ended up destroying their community. Another thing that you should know about this history is that this is the only time in the history of America that a town such as Tulsa, Oklahoma, was bombed from the air and bombed by American citizens, these racist individuals, over another lie by a white woman who claimed that a young black male tried to grape her, when part of the story is that the young man was looking for a bathroom and he ran onto the elevator. Now this is the story that he may have bumped this woman and she turned it into something else that it was not. And as a result of that lie, this town was massacred. Black people were deleted, they were killed. And you know that it was out of jealousy. Every time that black people have something that we build for ourselves, they just can't leave us alone. Just like in that movie Sinners, when black folks were having a good time in the Jew joint, enjoying themselves in the 1930s in that Jew joint, in that movie. And then what happened? The vampires showed up, the white vampires, wanting to interfere with what black people were doing. And ultimately trying to take our lives, take our souls, and trap our souls. Well, same thing in this case, not vampires, but white folks that were just like vampires, harming and taking the lives of black people. Do you know that there were unmarked graves in Tulsa, Oklahoma to this very day? That they're still excavating these unmarked graves where they just threw black people's bodies into the dirt? Homes were bombed, business districts were bombed out, and as a result, there has been no reparations that has been given to this place of the descendants of the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, the living descendants, and those that actually are living today that survived. We're talking about Viola Fletcher. We're talking about Miss Randall. They're both in their hundreds of years of age, their centennial years, and have never gotten any reparations for what has happened to them. Now we know that Viola Fletcher took out a lawsuit with the help of lawyers against Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you had this judge who threw it out as a case that didn't have merit when it had 100% merit. Then let's remember when Joe Biden, let me correct myself, Sleepy Joe Biden went down to Tulsa, Oklahoma back when they had a centennial anniversary of this massacre, and there was this whole big issue about building a museum, right? Miss Fletcher, they wanted to use her as some sort of photo op, right? And she said and her people, hey, you're going to pay us, and I'm glad that she made them pay. But however,
I'll never forget the violence of the white mob when we left our home. I still see black men being shot, black bodies lying in the street. I still smell smoke and see fire. I still see black businesses being burned. I still hear airplanes flying overhead. I hear the screams. I have lived through the massacre every day. Our country may forget this history, but I cannot. I will not. And other survivors do not. And our descendants do not. When my family was forced to leave Tulsa, I lost my chance of an education. I never finished school past the fourth grade. I have never made much money in my country. State and city took a lot from me. Despite this, I spent time supporting the war effort in the shipyards of California. But most of my life, I was a domestic worker serving white families. I never made much money, but to this day, I can barely afford my everyday needs.
Important payment is that Miss Fletcher and Miss Randall and her brother, they never got national reparations payment from the federal government or Oklahoma. This is why this whole situation is a damn shame. Now, let's turn to today. It was announced not that long ago, there's a new mayor. First time they've had a black mayor in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They've never had one in this particular part of Oklahoma. There was never a black mayor. Now there is a black mayor, and this black mayor is pushing for a reparations package for the descendants of the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. Now, is it a reparations package? When I read this to you, it's not really a true reparations package. What they're doing is creating a trust fund. And I'm going to go into that. So the government is still off the hook for doing what they're supposed to do, right? The Oklahoma as a state is off the hook. The city is off the hook. And the feds are not doing anything. And dismiss me with Donald Trump. He ain't giving these black folks no reparations because Donald Trump is cutting all type of programs that benefit black folks in this country as I speak right now. That's the Job Corps. He cut that. He's also cut a program in Alabama to help that was helping black people who were living in poor and had poor sewage, poor plumbing and water that had fecal matter in it. That just a few years back, someone from the United Nations came out and said that this area, I think it was an area in Alabama, was just as bad as a third world country where black people were living. Donald Trump cut that. Now, take it back to this situation right now. So the mayor Monroe Nichols, I believe is his name. He's a brother. He's introducing some type of trust fund. He wants to create a $105 million trust to be built for 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre reparations. The city said, this is what the city is saying. This is the thing though. That ain't no reparations package. $105 million is not going to get it compared to what happened. Those folks lost businesses. Those folks lost land. Those folks lost family members. Lives were cut in half. Lives were lost. This government owes this debt because reparations, they say that reparations is about repair. No, reparations, and the proper word for it is a debt that America owes to not only black people in this country, but specifically to these black folks here in Greenwood who paid a hell of a price. Let me go on to talk more about this. Let me read this to you. This is off this article. This is off the Public Radio Works in Oklahoma. It says here, 10 of millions of dollars will go towards repairing harm from the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. That's according to Mayor Monroe Nichols, Tulsa's first black mayor, and Sunday city is opening 105. Said here, Sunday, the city is opening a 105 million charitable. It's a charitable trust aimed at things like housing, scholarships, land acquisition, economic development, okay, for North Tulsa members. People who live in North Tulsa, Oklahoma, are the ones that will get this. We're primarily talking about the descendants, okay? The trust will be comprised of private money that will be raised over the next 12 months. This is a damn shame. This is a damn shame. This trust fund is being raised by private money. You know what that means. They're going to be looking for big pockets, deep pockets, for people to donate. This is a damn shame. They should not be in a situation where they have to create a trust fund, okay, this is a damn shame. And I want to go deeper into where this is going. So this $105 million trust fund to provide reparations for the folks there that are the descendants, meaning they're not going to give cash payments. They've already said that there won't be any cash payments. So that means Miss Randall and Miss Viola Fletcher, who were children when this happened and they are survivors, had their families wiped out. They won't get a dime of cash payments. And that's a damn shame. The Japanese got cash payments. They got checks. Jewish people and what happened to them in the Holocaust, they're getting checks to this day from the United States because the United States was involved in it from this standpoint. Not physically here on this land, but the United States Wall Street was involved. You had a IBM computer company that was involved in putting those numbers and barcodes on Jewish people. And so Native Americans in this country have been paid some form of reparations. Matter of fact, they get millions of dollars annually. Why is it that the descendants of Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood neighborhood, Greenwood community, they should be getting annual millions of dollars? I'm not talking about to everybody. I'm talking about the direct descendants. And this is the thing that always happens, folks. People always come out the woodworks. I know someone's going to leave a comment on this video and say, well, you know, black people weren't slaves today. Us black folks living today weren't slaves. And how can we give reparations to people who weren't the victims? Dummies, these are the victims. Viola Fletcher is a victim because she lived through it. And Miss Randall's a victim. There are hundreds of you, and they got family. They've got children. They got grandchildren. And then you have people who are still living in this community of Greenwood who have families that had their businesses wiped out and may have been massacred. They are alive. So now, therefore, as everyone always says, oh, none of us are the victims. No, we got the victims. They alive. They talking. They breathing. Give them the money. Reparations. This is simply a trust fund which is going to be created through people giving charitable donations. That ain't a reparations. Like, let me go on to say this. This trust is part of the road to repair to initiate to allocate funds for housing, home ownership, culture. And I said that already. This is going to be a housing programs. For home ownership, grants and loans and scholarships. This is all supposed to come out of $105 million, which ain't nothing but a drop in the bucket to what the state of Oklahoma owes this community and these people that are descendants, and what the state owes and what the city and the state and the damn federal government should owe. Because the last time I checked, when Tulsa, Oklahoma got bombed from the sky by white racist men, a lot of these racist white men were members and had been members of the United States military and had access to planes or the ability to fly planes. And doing the bombing that came down on this community. And now they want to set up here and give us a reparations. Folks, I'm disgusted by the whole situation. Let me go on and let you know how this money is going to be spent. So this is how it's going to go. One, they want to give $24 million towards housing and home ownership for descendants of the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. Okay. They also want to take $60 million towards cultural preservation aimed at improving buildings, reducing blight in the community, restoring buildings, implementing parts of the Kilpatrick Heights Greenwood master plan. So I think the master plan is to revitalize this community, to retake buildings that were destroyed in the massacre and refurbish those buildings. Now, I like that idea. I like the idea of refurbishing the community. But the problem is, if you're going to refurbish the community, who owns the community? Will the ownership and control of land and resources in the buildings, will it solely be owned by the people, or will there be some other entity that will have some sort of puppet string control over it, because you're taking in donations, you're taking in charitable money, and when people give donations and give money, and they got to get deep pockets for this, they're going to want something for their money. Okay? Another area, they want to use $21 million towards legacy funds for land acquisition and scholarship funding and economic development. I want everybody to let me know how you feel about this in the comment section of this video. Do you see this as a real reparations program? Now, I commend the Mayor Nichols. I commend the brother for at least trying to do something. But the problem with this is that the brother is trying to do something that he shouldn't even be responsible to have to do. This black man, this black mayor should not even have to deal with having to do this, meaning having to go out there and solicit people to give money and charitable money to a reparations program that really ain't a reparations program, y'all. Money that should be coming from the city of Oklahoma, from the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let me correct what I'm saying here. Money that should be coming from the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And money that should be coming from the state. Now, he's the mayor, so of course he's going to use some money, but a lot of this money should be coming from the overall state, the governor's office, and then money should have been coming from the federal government. We had Joe Biden in office and Kamala Harris in office. They didn't do anything to prepare a reparations package for this place, this beautiful place called Tulsa, Oklahoma, that was destroyed. That was a thriving black community that had money, they had businesses, they were thriving, they were doing everything that we should be doing today. And we like to all use that term, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Street and all that sort of stuff. But right now, this stinks to high heaven that the feds haven't done a damn thing. Viola Fletcher's lawsuit against the city in the state of Oklahoma was dismissed and thrown out of court, which was a damn shame. And now you got a black mayor who's in office, the first black mayor you've ever had in this area, and now he's coming up with some type of semi-reparations program that's going to require them to get charitable donations to create this trust fund, which will be worth $105 million and will be split up into various different projects, but there will be no cash payments. And therefore, I have to be honest and just say this, not to be a hater, this isn't a true reparations program, because the money shouldn't have to be raised through charity and people giving money. That's letting the government off the hook. It's an unfortunate situation, but that's how black people in America are treated. With that said, I want you to hit the bell notification. Let someone know that you love them. Subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed to this channel. Share this video on all your social media. And I'll be back with more presentation. This is what we're dealing with, folks, in the 21st century. And it's sad, I'm going to say it again, it's sad that the living survivors, like Viola Fletcher, let me say the name correct. It's a shame that someone like this lady, Miss Randall, could file a lawsuit against the state, against the city, and they dismissed the whole thing. Then when Joe Biden was in office, they had her go to Washington and give her testimony, but nobody in Washington provided a package. We got all these Negroes in the Congressional Black Caucus. Did any of them propose a reparations package for the state or for the folks that are the descendants of the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots in 2021? No, not riot, massacre. Did any of these black politicians, the Clyburns of the world, did they do anything to provide a package for this woman in Miss Randall or the Descendants? No, not at all. Because we're under the Miss Black leadership class, and we also had the Democrats that have been in charge here and there and don't do nothing, and you don't get nothing out of the Republican Party, and you damn sure not going to get nothing out of this mega party under the dump Trump, or the taco Trump under his jurisdiction, because as I speak, this man is cutting programs left and right with executive orders that benefit black people, black communities. He don't give a damn. He's for the rich. With that said, you've been listening to the Information Man Show. I tell you no lies, but I tell you truth. Y'all take care. Peace.